What is the most unintentionally hot thing you've ever witnessed? This guy I liked had a violin solo at a concert once. Just the way his hands moved, the way he played had me mesmerized. I was already attracted to him, but that was just insanely hot for some reason. I was at the doctor's for a sore throat and the doc was a slender guy around my age. Good looking, but I never thought of him that way. But when he touched the sides of my neck to feel my lymph nodes, he finished by kinda gently moving his fingers down just a little toward my chest area, and I perked up because it was so hot and felt almost deliberate. I'll admit I was pretty starved for some intimacy. Back then, my now ex-husband had been sick and drinking, so it was the first sensual touch in almost a year, but it just felt so nice. TT didn't say anything, of course, was just surprise horny. In 7th grade my crush walked into class, sweaty from soccer practice, pulled his shirt up to wipe his brow and sent me hurtling into puberty. My crush when I was 16 walked out of wrestling practice pulling off his shirt and heading to the shower. He saw me staring at him and gave me a half smile. That was it. I was done. He's asleep next to me right now, 28 years later. As a teen, a group of us were joking around and a girl took out hand cream, as girls tend to go, so I jokingly asked for some. She squirted way too much on my hand and laughed. I loudly stated, "What the hell am I supposed to do now?" When the tall blonde hot girl who I barely knew came up, scraped the hand cream off my hand, put a leg up on the nearby couch in our commons area, and proceeded to apply it to her whole legs and up her thighs one leg at a time and walked away. It was spring and she was wearing shorts. Instant turn on. To this day I'm not sure how much she was completely oblivious versus showing off / flaunting her body. I was in the parking lot waiting for my partner to finish his shift. He makes artisan pizzas, and just watching him laughing with his coworkers and then tossing a pizza in the air and bouncing it on his knuckles just about made me ask him to clock out a little earlier. I just love watching him be good at things he loves doing. In 7th grade, my crush was sitting on the seat next to me. The teacher asked him to shut the door. It was one of those doors that slide and you could push it from the back. He put his arm behind me to shut it and my hormones were flipping out. Yesterday my wife of 31 years was doing her thing in the kitchen. As I walked in, her back was to me and she bent down to get something from a bottom drawer. Almost a third of a century with that woman and she still grabs my full attention without even trying. I am a lucky man and know it. My fiancé lapping me on an ice skating rink while skating backwards. I could watch that all day. Or when he's zoned in on a drawing that took him 2 hours to draw what would have taken me 2 weeks. How absolutely relaxed yet focused he gets is captivating. Or when I play video games with him and he keeps me from dying like the game controls are just another limb. Talent. I'm a sucker for talent. My boss was standing taking a phone call in our open plan office. It was summer and she wore a black, tight, sleeveless dress. The person on the other end of the line presumably asked a tough question. As she pondered her response, she looked skywards, ran her fingers slowly through her hair and closed her eyes. I was agog. So I'm into the whole timid / keep to yourself type of women. This girl knows since college. Behaved like a saint, was polite to everyone and just generally very kind. Now she found of her friend's boyfriend is cheating on her. The events unfolded as follows. I'll enter the class, teacher walks in followed by this very angry dude that just goes up to the girl I'm talking about and grabs her by the throat. Not 2 seconds later his hands are facing the medically wrong way. She sort of grabbed his hand and did a very sudden twist. There was an immediate screech of agonizing pain from the guy. She didn't even flinch during the whole thing. Just stared at him like a predator looking at a squabbling critter before it. So yeah, turns out that gave me a boner. Also it is currently giving me a boner. Don't know about most, but recent and memorable. New neighbor was outside watering her plants. She moved so gracefully just the way she knelt to pour a little water on this row of succulents. Zero wasted movement. Something about it was just so picturesque. When my husband was recovering from his vasectomy, I learned how many little things I did turned him on. I'd reach across the table for the salt and he'd give an uncomfortable squirm. Just so many little things like that. It was a huge ego boost and turned me on immensely to know that I was turning him on. Couldn't do anything with that feeling for a few weeks, unfortunately. When I was in HS, I went to the movies with my girlfriend. During the movie she began to rub her barefoot on my shin very slowly. It drove me berserk. My husband called a company that scammed my grandmother, who had dementia, said they cleaned her vents, took $2,500 cash but didn't do any work, and got her money refunded. He was really tough. "Ls your company into elder abuse? Scamming little old ladies?" And offered to stop by their office to further discuss the issue. The tough guy performance and him caring deeply for my grandmother. Damn. Middle school teacher was surprised in front of the class by her husband coming home from a military deployment. They kissed like my eyes never saw before and he lifted her off the ground. It was practically pornographic to a boy of a certain age. This jogged my memory. I was 13, vacationing at Niagara Falls. Embassy Suites double booked our room, so they sent us up to like the 40th floor. Not only was the view fucking incredible, Booty could see a naked woman in an adjacent hotel just nuding about. Incredible. Just nuding about. Great sentence. When a guy stretches, his shirt kinda lifts up and you can see the waistband of his boxers. One time, I was at lunch, this one girl dropped something. When she went to pick it up, I just happened to be standing behind her. So, as she was picking it up, her hair flipped forward and she brushed it out of her face and turned around. Since I was behind her, when she turned around, we were in each other's faces, this close. We didn't move either. Happy to report she's my girlfriend now. LOL. A female coworker friend of mine lived in the same building as me and asked to borrow a tie for her shift. She flipped her hair forward, and the tie on as she flipped her hair back. Sexy as hell. Kinda looked at her different after that, but didn't act on it. I was securely located on Planet Friend and didn't want to ruin that. We lost touch for a while, and reconnected on Facebook. She's married. And has a couple of kids. But when I saw the photos she posted of her husband, well, he had a certain body type. Dude was my doppelganger. I had missed an opportunity and didn't even know about it for a decade. Still think about that hair flip, though. I was in the pool with a few friends of mine. I decide to call a chicken fight, which is basically two guys face to face, each with a girl sitting on their shoulders, and the fight is the girls trying to push one or the other off. Behave a cheerleader on me, which is a fun sentence to say to this day, and we are dominating to the point where my smallest guy friend decides to be topside for a fight. So there we are, me with the cheerleader and two guy friends, the little one being a rider. And water splashes up and knocks my hair into my eyes. So I shake my head a little and feel some water in my ear, so I tilt a little and shake some more, at which point I notice the tiny unintentional gasp type noises and feeling a little grinding on my neck. So I look up, tilting my head back and feel small hands brushing hair out of my face, and looking down is the very red face of one of the most attractive humans I've ever had, grinding on any part of me, biting her lip and giving me a good job pat on the head. User to work at a pool shop. One day a new delivery driver turns up to deliver the 20 kilograms bags of pool salt. She wasn't overly attractive but defiantly not ugly. The moment she started hauling 20 plus bags of salt into the shop in the hot sun, she became the most attractive woman I'd even laid eyes on. Something about women who can punch out physical labor as much as any man is hot as fuck. I know it was a typo, but I love the confident image of someone being defiantly not ugly. Girl I have a crush on took off her hoodie and her shirt came up with it to the point you could see her bra, and I hate to say it but I was staring. Time to break the rules, because I only heard about this story. Had to miss it because I skipped school that day for a family emergency. In freshman year of high school, my friends and I liked to climb trees in the woods behind school. One day, one of the girls was up in a tree pretty high up when the branch apparently broke. She was fine, having instinctively jumped to another branch nearby, but not in a good spot to come back down the tree. One guy apparently just climbs up the tree like it was nothing and helps the girl down. They were dating within a week. I was on a train many years ago with a drunk guy trying to hit on women. He was trying it with this very young and very scared girl, so I put myself in between them. He started in on me and I have no shame, so I very loudly asked him to stop touching me. I said it twice, and a guy a few seats down immediately came up, and without any aggression or violence separated the drunk guy and put him off the train at the next stop. The matter-of-fact way he did it was super hot. He just went back to his set and his conversation like it was nothing. My boyfriend, now husband, coming to my college apartment to change my flat tire in his work jeans and plain white t-shirt, with his arms and shoulders all flexed. He was just being a sweetheart and I was full-on ogling him. My ex wearing my sweatshirt, moving her butt in just the right way while cooking dinner on our third date, which she insisted be at home. That was on purpose. Well, it worked. Damn, did it work. My wife sitting on the bed next to me as I woke up, wearing nothing but a blue cardigan and her panties. Wasn't she mad at you for stealing them? He was caught in the rain in a white tank top. I was dancing in the rain with my friends. I had a huge crush on him already, and then I saw him and was so happy my 15-year-old eyes could check out his toned soccer body. 11 years later he just got home after being deployed for flood relief. His body ain't as toned anymore in a white tank, but his character has stood the test of time. 7th grade, and my crush was talking to some kids, and I walk over with one of my friends, and before I say anything she looks over, hair flips, waves, smiles, and I just stood there and waved. One time my friend and I hung out at a local outdoor restaurant and we got our food and walked across the street to sit and eat it and watch funny videos. I'm not sure if this happened because she wanted to cuddle or she needed to see my phone screen better, but she was watching so closely she practically rested her chin on my shoulder and her face was right fucking there. She stayed that way for 2-ish minutes when something funny happened in whatever we were doing and she giggled softly, right into my ear, and I could feel her breath. Mix of a hot/sweet moment, but yeah, really wish she would do it again. A woman doing a keg stand in an evening gown, who apparently forgot gravity was a thing and that she was going commando. Imagine a woman fancy enough to don an evening gown, daring enough to go commando, and dumb enough to forget it. My crush was the quiet good girl nerd who seemed too innocent to understand any dirty jokes. She was sitting far away and heard an absurd dirty joke. I watched her smirk and hide a laugh. She noticed that I noticed and turned red with embarrassment. Not sure it fits the exact question, but I had a girl I had been hooking up regularly through college. I would come home from work to her place and we would hang out as friends, and then usually I would spend the night and mess around. One evening we were watching a comedy special where the comedian told a joke about working at Hooters, and she mentioned she used to work at Hooters. I hadn't known that. I said, "Oh man, that's cool," and she said, "I think I still have the shorts, haha," and I offhandedly mentioned that TD like to see you in those sometime, haha. Then we went about our night hanging out. I didn't think any more of it or bring it up again. I was busy so I didn't get to see her for the next 3 days, but the next time I went over she was wearing the Hooters shorts as soon as I walked in the door. It really got to me that she would have remembered such a simple comment and been thoughtful enough to do that for me. We had been seeing each other for like 6 to 7 months at that point, and we had been friends before that, so we were far from the needing to impress each other sexually stage. It was just an established thing. I'll never forget how appreciated that made me feel, and in turn wanted her more. Attractive dude at a local show stared me dead in the eyes and sang "That Girl Is Poison." I don't know why, but it turned me on and stayed with me for years. I was in middle school and I saw this girl with amazing hair do a hair flip. I wasn't even looking at her, just in her direction. When I saw her flip her hair, I swear, it was as if it was those cliché slow motion hair flips. Knew this girl from elementary. She was kinda nerdy, with glasses and braces and everything. That was probably almost 20 years ago. Now we're married with 2 dogs and our son just turned 1. My 12-year-old self had her sexual awakening to Luke Skywalker, all sweaty in a tank top in that one swamp scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Still does it for me, tbh. Additionally, the culprit of me having a crush on Seth MacFarlane for 2 years now is his monologue from that time he hosted SNL. He's just up there being talented at voices and singing. And it drives me wild. I am a fat version of Rosie the Hobbit. So, I do not get hit on and definitely don't flirt. I try to go unnoticed for the most part. LT's okay because my sweet hobbit husband notices me. I travel for work and teach software to small utility electric companies. The guys at these places range from Uncle Grandpa to toss a coin to your Witcher hot. So, I'm at this electric cooperative to train. I had just used the restroom and exited right as a super adorable guy was walking by. I trailed him for about a minute and we were clearly going the same direction as we walked through the building. He turned around to see who was following and quickly turned his face back, and I meekly said, I promise I'm not stalking you, and quick as a whip, with the cheekiest grin, he flicked his face back and said, "Wish you would." Ugh, that guy was so hot and flirtatious, and while it was intentional on his part, it absolutely wasn't on mine and completely surprised me. Was on a college tour and a guy ran by smelling like a workout. Instantly made me resolve to break up with my boyfriend because I realized how little I was attracted to him. I know a lot of people have experiences like this, but was in high school when a guy in my weight training class stretched his back before starting on the free weights. Mother of God, I had an awakening that day. When that dude had a picture in his story, slightly censored, and then sent it to me uncensored. It was just his upper body and he covered his nipples, lol, but I didn't reach out or anything. Instead, suddenly, in my DMs he said, "And for you, it's uncensored." I might have drooled a tiny bit over that sole thought that he knew I had seen it and he wanted me to see it without anything else. So it was intended to be sensual but not exactly hot. I had a friend in high school. It was one of those we both had feelings for each other but never 100% pulled the trigger to give it a shot situations. We were at a sporting event for our high school, either basketball or volleyball, can't remember. She was sitting on the bleachers right in front of me. She reached back, ran her fingers through her long black hair, leaned back so she was essentially between my legs, resting with her left arm on my left leg, then reached back with her right hand and put it on the back of my neck and lightly scratched down to my collarbone. She didn't look back to give me a smirk or anything. I don't think she intended it to be as hot as I took it. I think in her head it was a small showing of affection. I'm in my 30s. I've had a pretty decent amount of sexual experiences. I'm happily married to the love of my life. Not the same person, but hot damn, I don't know if LVE ever been as turned on as I was in that very moment. Adolescent hormones probably helped. This might be weird, but seeing a father respectfully but firmly discipline/scold their child, like when you can tell they are a present enough parent that they know how to properly discipline their kid without abuse or toxicity. That might just be my daddy kink flaring up though. Guys being patient/good with kids in general is always hot.